WAG Wednesday, and really happy to have with us today Atoya Burleson, the wife of Nate Burleson, and she joins us. She hosts her own podcast called Inside Lines with Tia Averill, the wife of Cliff Averill from the Seahawks and Lions, and has a pretty cool website, which is, I think you call that eponymous, Evan, when it's just your name.
Eponymous?
Eponymous.
Eponymous.
Yes.
Eponymous.
Yes. Like if I had a restaurant called Craig Carton's,
right,
my restaurant would be eponymous.
Ah.
Anyway, the website is atoyaburleson.com. Atoya, Craig, and Evan, how are you today?
What's going on, fellas? I am good. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. How the kids? How's Nate? How's your family? Everybody healthy and good?
Everyone's healthy and good. The kids are just big. They're getting so big. They keep me busy,
Yes.
but it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking to Kelly Stafford, and she said, "Oh, you have to talk to Atoya for this show. She's got some stories." And I said, "All right, let's hear the stories." First off, how did you and Nate meet?
Okay, so Nate and I met in college. I actually ran track in college. Nate, at that time, was a freshman, and I was a senior. So,
younger man.
I know. So he was getting off the elevator. I was getting on the elevator, and he introduced himself and kissed my hand. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever.
Wow.
So, but I kept it moving. And over time, I mean, it took a little while because I was not trying to talk to someone 3 years younger than me.
Sure.
But fate would have it. I'm a cougar, and I'm proud of it. So,
At what point? At
You're
what
funny.
point in his attempt to win you over did he challenge you to a race to see who
Right.
could win?
multiple times. Listen, Nate he ran track in high school. So he also was a hurdler. So he was just like, we can do this any day. And I was like, let's go. I'm like, don't forget, my name is up there in the strength board. So be careful what you ask for. But he never stepped up and did it. He just kind of let me have that role. He was a freshman. He didn't want to get embarrassed, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well,
But
Makes sense.
you're an accomplished
senior.
Division I track athlete.
Yeah.
And I see. Here's the reality of that.
He didn't
And
want that smoke. I respect it.
I've never talked to Nate about this. I don't know Nate, just for full transparency. But Nate works with Boomer. I, of course, worked with Boomer for 10 years. And Boomer raves about Nate, the person. I've never met him, but everyone I know that knows him thinks he's just a gem. He didn't want it because you're an accomplished Division I track athlete. He's like, young stud, freshman on campus, right?
Yeah.
If he loses, he can't show his face. And he might have lost.
He might have, just so have it that year. I ended up winning the conference championship in the 100 hurdle. So I think after that, he was like, yeah, I'm going to just leave her alone.
Yeah.
But you know what? He didn't even play his first year. So that year, he just came to watch me. I didn't go watch him. He was not, he didn't compete that year.
If you
so.
raced today, all these years later,
Yeah.
would you beat him?
No, absolutely not.
No?
Okay.
I think testosterone would probably kick in at that point.
What if he's carrying that Nickelodeon money in his pockets? Then you have a shot.
Possibly.
It was funny.
The hurdles would have to go down just one more notch, and I think I'd be okay.
I would think, Nate and Atoya have 3 kids, and I would think that, listen, it's daddy's cool, right? Daddy's a football player, so for kids, that's really cool. Daddy's on TV, that's very cool. But my gut tells me, and I have 4 kids of my own who are older, there's nothing that he's ever done that's cooler than the slime and Nickelodeon. Am I right on that?
Yeah, for my youngest, for sure. She's all about slime, Nickelodeon. Right. My 2 older, they're high school, so they're kind of past that. So they're all about like listening to dad talk about sports because they're so into it. But my daughter, she's all about slime.
And is one of your sons like 6'4", 200 plus? And
Yes.
do I have that right?
That is correct. That's my 16-year-old son. He's
Wow.
a sophomore. And he was big from birth. I'm gonna just
He
tell you all.
was.
That one was a tough one for me.
That was tough coming
I
out.
knew in the womb that he was going to be a big one. So
Well, if you don't mind me asking, what did he weigh when he was born?
he wasn't super heavy. He's only 7'11", but he was 22 inches long. So he would stretch and literally cut off my diaphragm. I'd be like raising my arm, like trying to like breathe. So and then he calmed down and I could like finally get it together. But I knew.
Does he play football now at that size, or
loves football.
Oh,
I
does
saw
he?
him play some tight end because I have a high school junior who's playing football. So like all the kids now, it's called the Huddle account, HUDL.
Right.
It's how the kids put their own videos up so colleges can recruit them. Now, listen, when you're Nate and Atoya's son and you're a very good athlete, people are going to look at you anyway. But for kids more like my kid, it's the only way to get yourself out there because all the college coaches, they recruit
Right.
off these videos. So Sonny was showing me video of your son earlier today,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my God, he's only 16.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's a big one. I call him Baby Oso because he's my baby bear. So he's a cuddler. He still loves to cuddle. So even though he's so big, he's still a mama's boy.
Listen, that's the best kind of kid to have because those are the kids that aren't getting in trouble. Right?
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. So when did you know that Nate was the guy? I assume it was not, early on. You kind of blew him off early on. When did you know, all right, there's something different about this kid?
I'd say like 6 months in, I was like, okay, this is a guy that hasn't gotten on my nerves yet. Like, I actually like hanging out with him and like we have fun together. We traveled together. We could just hang and do nothing. We could literally sit up and watch SpongeBob, y'all. Like, this is back in the day and like just chill. And it was fun. Like, it wasn't, I think for me, I always told Nate this. I said to him, you know what? You haven't gotten on my nerves yet. Like, this is really good. And he'd always be like, why did you say that? I'm like, because usually like there's a 3 or 4 month rule. You're like, oh yeah, this is not it.
I wonder this. I asked Kelly this too, and we're talking to Atoya Burleson, Nate Burleson's wife, and she has a website called AtoyaBurleson.com and a podcast with Tia Averill, Inside Lines podcast, which we'll get to here in a second. I watched my kid play football as a dad, and there's kind of a helpless feeling that, I coached them as a kid, but I can't be there on the field with them. And, you get older, there's tackling, there's the risk of injury and all that. But he's my son. I wonder when you guys would stay home and watch Nate play NFL games, knowing the power, the speed, the risk of injury, if you were able to enjoy that, or if you watched those games for those 11 years with a pit in your stomach because you know the possibility of something bad happening.
Yeah. Okay. So all home games we were there, and then most of the away games we stayed home. We did travel to a few, but you just can't travel as much with your kids being young. But being at home, I just didn't like it. I like to be there in the action. So it didn't really bother me as far as Nate getting hit, watching it on TV. It was more like if something were to happen and I wasn't there, that would scare me. So for instance, when he broke his leg, when he played the Chicago Bears, I happened to go to that game. I was there in Chicago when it happened and it was terrible, but I was so happy to be there and just go down there and, be able to be there with him because I will never forget that. If I would have been at home, it would have been a disaster. I would have been a hot mess.
How would you compare watching your husband play football to now watching your son play football? You have that same emotion?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I will hopefully always be there for my son's games. It's different in the sense that they're your babies, right? So and I'm that mom. Let me just put it out there. I'm that mom, whether it's football or basketball, I'm like all the way in it. If it's basketball, I'm yelling at the ref, like that was a terrible call. Like I am that mom.
Right.
Same in football. Like if something's going on or someone does something dirty, I'm that mom talking stuff. And I do. I'm a protector of them. They're my babies, no matter how big they get. So
I wouldn't want any part of that smoke. No, I'm gonna avoid that. Hey, buddy, can you tell your mom to cut it a little bit?
Seriously, Nate's like, calm down.
That kind of thing. So what's the podcast all about? What is the Inside Lines podcast that you and Tia do? Walk me through it.
Okay, so Inside Lines podcast, I first started it with, I was at home, actually homeschooling my son, and I was looking for something to do for myself. And I always got the questions people wanted to know, kind of similar to this. They wanted to know, okay, so what's it like? Tell me this, tell me that. And I thought to myself, why don't I just talk about it, right? So, And Tia and I had these conversations all the time. So her husband and mine played together in Detroit, and then Cliff went on to Seattle to win the Super Bowl. But I just say that for girls, like I feel like for women in general, there's this small window where we get to really express ourselves and talk about things. Typically it's to each other. And so now that podcasts were so readily and easily available, people could just tune in and listen to our take, what we have to say, how we feel about things, whether it's players, whether it's, in the front office, whether it's, women and what we go through as parents. It just kind of gives everyone a different take. And it also shines the light on women that are awesome and amazing and no one knows. Like, I've had some amazing women on, from like Michelle G, she's the CEO of Ebony, to Carrie Champion, who she's one of my favorites in sports. I just love her energy. I mean, we've had on Nicole Lynn, she's the president of Clutch Sports, and she also she was the first female agent to have a top 3 draft pick, which is Quinnen Williams for the Jets. So
right.
I'm having these women on and giving them a platform to talk about it and communicate. It's inspiring and it's encouraging.
It's not so much shedding light on the lives of wives and girlfriends of ball players as it is more kind of like a female movement of successful, educated, articulate, bright, amazing, successful, independent, entrepreneurial women who we just don't know a lot about.
Yeah, but some of those women are also wives, right? There's like, we had Kelly on, and Kelly, I don't know if y'all know, I'm sure you know, but Kelly is a hoot. We have so much fun, and there's so many wives out there that are lawyers, that are doctors, that are they're starting clothing lines. So any woman that wants to come on and talk about what they have going on as wives, we celebrate that as well.
Kelly's great because she's unfiltered.
Oh, she is.
Like, you know exactly how Kelly Stafford feels about anything you want to know. And I'm sure Matt at times has said, can you stop talking about stuff? But she's unfiltered. She's honest, too. Yeah, which I have great admiration for, because there's a lot of people that aren't that way, who try to pose as something that they're not.
Yes.
And she's very real, which I like.
I need something very honest from you. I've never met Nate Burleson, but I watch him on TV a lot, and he's very, very likable. Like, he's almost too likable. He's almost perfect. Like, he comes across like, that's the sweetest guy in the world. So can you tell us something obnoxious about him? Something that would make us say, all right, see, he's not that perfect.
Well, the funny thing about Nate is when he's on TV, he's very charismatic. He's, he gives you his all. But let me tell y'all something. When he is off air, Nate is chill. He is sitting back doing absolutely nothing. He loves his downtime. He'll watch some Netflix or something on TV, watch some sports, and that is him. He's very, very chill. But most people are like, really? He's not like that in person. I'm like, because he is that person that like wants to make everyone else feel good, give his all. That's just his character. But if I were to say one thing about Nate that drives me crazy,
yeah.
Well, I can't say that part, but I would say
we all have the same problem. Don't worry about it.
I know. As from a wife standpoint, Nate is a very interesting person to eat with. When he sits down, like, you're not going to have like, how you sit down and you get people together and you have conversation and you eat and, you're enjoying everything. Nate devours his food in like 2.2 seconds. I'm like, bro, breathe, like, relax. And it's funny because my big boy, Nehemiah, is just like him, the 6'4", 20. He eats just like his dad. They're just like, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is too much.
Like, there's not going to be enough food left if I don't eat it all right now, kind of thing. Yeah.
And he's like, no one ever told me I ate fast. I'm like, you eat way too fast, bro. Just like relax. Enjoy the food.
How's Nate around the kitchen?
Nate's pretty good around the kitchen, and he's getting better. He likes, before he wanted no smoke. He wanted nothing to do with it. That was just me. But now that football's over, he has more time when he comes home in the mornings. He likes to get in the kitchen and make stuff. He watches, like, how they have the little Instagram TikToks or reels.
Yeah.
He literally watches those. He will go to the store. He will grab all the ingredients and try to make it. It is hilarious, and it's actually really good. He loves it.
See, you got to start videotaping that.
I know.
And just hold it just in case one day he acts out of order or something, and say, guess what? I've got the receipts. I've got the video.
Pull them out.
I got you. Did you guys like living in Detroit, or like, we can be real about that now? Did that kind of stink?
So personally, I liked Detroit, and it was very interesting because I didn't think I would. People were like, "Oh my gosh, you're going to Detroit. It's terrible. The bad things are going to happen to you. You're going to get robbed. Your car is going to get stolen." Like, I heard all these crazy things, but when we went to Detroit, it was, and Kelly will tell you, we had the best, like, the best concerts came through Detroit because it's Music City. You had so many amazing acts and people that came through. Now, let me tell you, when January hit and the season was over, we were running. We were out of there. We wanted nothing to do with the weather at all. But while we were there during the fall, we had so much fun.
They say in my notes here, they told me that one of the things you guys love to do is to travel. And I know you've put some photos up on the website of you guys. You're enjoying some travel. What's the favorite destination? Where do the Burlesons go when? I'll give you two choices. When it's totally relaxed, it's just no one's bothering you. It's totally secluded. Where's the cool place to go? And then if you're looking for a little fun, where we go for that trip?
Oh gosh, I would say the best vacation I've ever been on, it was right before the pandemic hit. And it was like perfect timing, was Maldives. It was like when people tell you about the Maldives and you're like, okay, let's check it out. It is phenomenal. Like it is a piece of heaven. I probably not go back there for like 10 more years because it's so far. But once you get there, you are literally in heaven. Like the water's crazy, the weather, everything is just perfect. Now for fun, I mean, are you talking like fun now in your 40s or like fun?
Very good question. Before you answer that, were you guys, I may have this totally wrong. There's a lot of people that went on vacation right before the pandemic hit who then weren't allowed to come back right away. So I wondered, like, if you guys could have been stranded in the Maldives, we would never hear from you guys ever again.
Real talk. Like, I would not have been mad. I would have been A-okay.
Evan, you should go to the Maldives. Evan goes to North Carolina. That's the only place he likes to go. You're not adventurous.
That's it, Evan?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a North Carolina guy.
I don't love flying. I love places I can drive to. And that's a long drive, but I like driving.
Yeah, Evan's one of those guys, which it's very sexist, Latoya. He doesn't let his wife drive. But to be fair, he doesn't let me drive
That's
either.
not sexism. That's control.
Nobody else is allowed to drive.
No one's allowed to drive. You're damn right.
Yeah.
Who drives in your house? Is it Nate?
Well, let me tell you, I am that way. I am the driver.
See,
but
you understand
to be fair,
yes,
I feel like Nate is not a good driver. He stresses me out. He's like looking at his phone. He changes the channels, because you put your music on your phone and you hook it to the car. It's too much going on. It stresses me out. And he's always like, chill, I got this. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. So when we go on those AAU basketball long journeys, I'm usually driving, unless it's nighttime. If it's nighttime, I don't like to drive at night. Well,
listen, we appreciate you coming on. The podcast is Inside Lines Podcast with Tia Averill and, of course, Atoya Burleson. The website is atoyaburleson.com. Do you miss the track and field and running, or do the kids keep you busy enough you don't miss it?
I miss it. I coach now just because I miss it. I love going out there and giving back, and I still can get over the hurdle, so that's a good thing. But I miss competing. Competing is like everything for me. Even in my household, we compete. We compete over everything. So, yes, I miss it, but you fill those voids with other things.
And I apologize for not knowing. Were you an Olympic contender, or were you not?
I was not an Olympic contender. Yeah, I was a conference hurdle champ at Nevada, but yeah, I didn't get to the Olympics.
I don't know if you know this, Atoya, but I'm now a racer. I actually competed a couple of weeks ago, finished in second in a very tough battle.
It was a 40-yard dash on cement, and the guy that beat him, and I'll send you the documentary when it's done, just so you know I'm not BSing you, face planted, and his face bounced on the cement.
Oh my gosh.
He crossed the finish line by bouncing.
Yeah, slightly ahead of me. Yeah. So it was a tough finish. Yes.
Wait, and you lost that way?
He lost.
I may have lost it, Toya. Yes. So if there's ever a day you want to race with me, we can definitely do it. No?
No.
As long as you give me like a little bit of a head start, slightly.
No, she could give you a 50-yard head start in a 40-yard race, and no. The answer is no. The issue with Toya is that the guy that won the race, he was a bit heavy set. Okay. So his momentum goes. He's nearing the finish line.
He leaned early.
Bang.
Did he lean early?
He starts leaning, and he also recognized he was a couple paces ahead of Evan. So he looked to his left to trash talk. bang. Like he got
No, he
shot.
did it to himself. He did it to himself.
Oh, yeah. There's a documentary coming out about it in a couple weeks. I'll let you see it.
Right.
I love it.
Oh, it's good talking to you, Tori. Good luck with the podcast and the website. And thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Have a good one.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. There you go. Very nice. Atoya Burleson, a little WAG Wednesday.